What is the key of D? And how do we play in the key of D? So far in our series, we've looked at the key of C, at the top of the circle of fifths, no sharps, no flats. We've looked at the key of G, one key to the right, which has one F sharp. Now we are at the key of D. Now, what does it mean that the key of D has two sharps? Well, what that means is that if we are going to play a D scale, we're going to start on D and go to the next D up. To create the pattern that sounds like a major scale, we have to raise two white keys up to black keys, or we have to sharp two naturals. And the two notes that we are going to sharp in the key of D are F and C. So here's how we would play a D scale played slowly. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Why does that matter? That matters because if we want to play in the key of D, those notes that I just played, those are the notes that we are going to use. So remember, a scale is a key. Okay, if we know the scale, then we know the notes in the key. If we sit down and we use those notes, whether it be on guitar or piano or whatever instrument we're playing, we know that we are then playing in the key of D. Now, this affects chords as well. What chords are we going to use in the key of D? Let's take a look at the 7 chords that are built upon the 7 notes of the D scale. And remember that any chord that has an F or a C in it, we have to raise that note up to the F sharp and the C sharp. D major, that's our 1 chord. E minor, that's our 2 chord. F sharp minor would be our 3 chord. Notice the 2 sharps there. G major, that's our 4 chord. A major, that would be our 5 chord. B minor is the 6th chord. And the 7th chord is called a diminished chord. That would be C sharp diminished. And those would be the 7 chords that make up the key of D. Now you'll remember from previous videos that the 1, 4, 5, those are the major chords. Those are going to be the main indication of the key of D major. So if we see D chord, G chord, A chord, usually the B minor would be the strongest minor chord. If you're seeing those chords together, you know the song's in the key of D. So one example of a popular chord progression that so many pop songs employ would be 1, 5, 6, 4. You may have heard of that before. So in the key of D, what is that going to be? That is going to be D, A, B minor, G. There's 1, 5, 6, 4 in the key of D. So again, watch for those chords being combined together. That's a great way to spot the key of D if you're working with chords. We also need to know what the relative minor to the key of D major is, because minor keys are used frequently. We use them all the time. And minor keys are paired to major keys. We need to be able to recognize, are we in the key of D or are we in its relative minor? Let's take a look at that. So the relative minor is 3 half steps lower than its relative major. Okay, so if we're on D, we count down 1, 2, 3, we arrive at B. What that means is that B minor and D major are the same notes. We simply start and end on a different note. Okay, so let's check out the B minor scale. Here are the notes in the key of B minor. B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. So again, you notice it's all white keys except for the 2 sharps. The only difference is I'm starting and ending on B. This also means that the minor chords are going to be emphasized. So you're going to be emphasizing B minor. You're going to be emphasizing E minor and F sharp minor. That would be the key of B minor. So again, tied to the key of D, that's why they're called relatives. Same notes, different emphasis. Let's take a look at music theory in action. Let's say that I want to play Ode to Joy by Beethoven. And I want to play that in the key of D. Okay, so we can look at it in C position here. We can move it to G. Now let's move it to D. Okay, now just using our ear, we can hear that is not correct. That doesn't sound like it did in the other 2 keys. That's because we have to know the key signature. We have to know the notes in the scale. So if I know the D scale, I know that, hey, to play in the key of D, I've got to sharp the F. Now listen to it. I hope that this brief example has helped to demonstrate why it is so important that we know our scales, why it is so important that we understand what sharps or flats are in every key, because we can't play music otherwise. We have to know this stuff. So I hope this quick video has helped you understand the key of D. Next week, we're going to tackle the key of A. But until then, have a wonderful time making music.